There's a belief that has lasted for generations. Low blood pressure is always better than high blood pressure. It sounds reasonable, doesn't it? After all, for decades, we've been warned about the silent killer known as high blood pressure. But the truth isn't that simple. After the age of 60, low blood pressure can be just as dangerous, sometimes leading to consequences no one expects. I'm reminded of Nancy, a 70-year-old woman living in Florida. She often felt dizzy when standing up, but would just laugh it off, saying, "That's just old age." One morning, as she rose from her chair, she lost her balance, fell to the floor, and broke her hip. Only then did doctors discover that her blood pressure was consistently dropping to dangerous levels. That fall didn't just cause pain, it stole her confidence and nearly took away the independence she had always cherished. Nancy's story is a gentle but powerful reminder. Never ignore the signals your body is trying to send you. Welcome to Elderly Health Corner, where we believe in one simple, powerful truth: live stronger after 60. In this video, we'll uncover 14 silent but critical warning signs of low blood pressure in adults over 60. Some may sound familiar, but others may truly surprise you. And together, they can determine not just your health, but your safety and your independence. So let's begin with the very first sign, one that many people tend to overlook: dizziness and lightheadedness when standing up. Many brush it off as just getting older, but the truth is, it's often the first warning sign of low blood pressure. This dizziness isn't just a matter of getting older. Doctors actually have a name for it: orthostatic hypotension. It happens when you stand up too quickly, your blood pressure drops, blood doesn't reach your brain fast enough, and for a moment the world seems to spin or fade to black. I remember a conversation with James, a 65-year-old from Texas. He told me that whenever he stood up quickly, he felt unsteady, but he would just laugh it off. "That's just getting old, losing balance a little." Until one day, in his kitchen, he stood up too fast, slipped, and hit his head on the floor. That fall kept him in the hospital for weeks. And only then did he realize the culprit wasn't aging, it was low blood pressure. The important point here is this: never treat dizziness as something trivial. It may be your body's way of calling for help. If it happens repeatedly, check your blood pressure and talk with your doctor. Even small habits like drinking enough water and standing up slowly can drastically reduce your risk of falls and injuries. And remember, sometimes the smallest signals can decide both your safety and your independence. Don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with friends, neighbors, or loved ones, because the simple reminder, given at the right time, could help someone avoid a serious accident. Sign number 2 is chest comfort. Unlike dizziness, which can catch you off guard but often passes quickly, chest pain is the heart itself crying out. And this warning is far too dangerous to be ignored.
When low blood pressure reaches the heart, it often shows up as chest discomfort. And this isn't just a minor issue. It can be one of the most dangerous warnings of all. The unfortunate truth is that many older adults mistake it for indigestion, bloating, or simply feeling a little tired. But the reality is far more serious. When blood pressure drops too low, the heart doesn't receive enough blood and oxygen. As a result, you may feel your chest being squeezed, pressed down, or tightly constricted. A report from Mayo Clinic once highlighted that low blood pressure doesn't just cause temporary discomfort, it can actually worsen pre-existing heart conditions, turning a manageable issue into something life-threatening. I recall a story from New York. A man in his 70s was sitting and watching TV when he suddenly felt chest pain. Just minutes later, he collapsed. Thankfully, his family called 911 in time. The doctor said if help had come 10 minutes later, he might not have survived. That chest pain wasn't something minor. It was the body's fierce warning that the heart was starving for oxygen and blood at a critical level. To put it simply, when you feel unusual chest discomfort, never take it lightly. Whether the pain lasts only a moment or lingers, treat it as an emergency signal. Check your blood pressure, call your doctor, or seek medical help immediately. And don't keep this information to yourself. Share it with friends, neighbors, or loved ones, because just one overlooked chest pain, one moment of hesitation, could cost you or someone you love their very life. And this brings us to sign number 3. Chest pain strikes loud and fast, but fatigue is the quiet thief. It sneaks in slowly, stealing your strength day after day. Sign number 3 is unusual fatigue. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? After all, who among us hasn't felt tired? But the kind of exhaustion caused by low blood pressure is very different from the ordinary tiredness you feel after a long day. When blood pressure drops, the heart pumps less forcefully. Blood carries less oxygen and fewer nutrients to the muscles, the brain, and other organs. That's why even after 7 or 8 hours of sleep, you still wake up feeling heavy, sluggish, and without the energy to start a new day. I think of Linda, a 67-year-old from Ohio. She used to enjoy her morning walks, her little daily joy in retirement. But over time, she found herself exhausted. Even with a full night's sleep, every morning she still felt drained, to the point that she gave up exercising altogether. She thought, it's just old age. But when she finally saw a doctor, the answer was clear. Low blood pressure was the real culprit. The important thing here is this: don't be too quick to blame every ounce of fatigue on aging. Sometimes it's your body sounding the alarm that blood and oxygen aren't reaching where they're needed. If you ignore it, you may slowly lose the joy in the things you once loved, and your quality of life will decline with it. And don't keep this to yourself. Share it with your friends, neighbors, or loved ones, because chances are someone close to you may also be struggling with constant exhaustion, mistakenly believing it's just part of getting older. That was sign number 3. Now, sign number 4 is fainting. At first, it might sound like just losing strength for a moment. But for older adults, it's actually one of the most dangerous warning signs of low blood pressure. Fainting. At first, it might sound like just losing strength for a moment. But for older adults, it's actually one of the most dangerous warning signs of low blood pressure. When the brain doesn't receive enough blood and oxygen, the body reacts like a switch being turned off. You lose consciousness suddenly. And even those few short seconds can leave serious consequences: broken bones, head injuries, and even the loss of independence in daily life. I think of Bill, 72 years old. One morning, he walked into the bathroom. As soon as he stood up, his vision went dark, and he collapsed onto the hard tile floor. That fall left him with a hip injury that kept him bedridden for weeks. He said with emotion, "What scared me most wasn't the fainting itself. It was the feeling that I no longer had control over my life." The body is trying to tell us this: if fainting or near fainting happens more than once, it's not random. It's a loud alarm bell, and you need to let your doctor know right away. Don't reassure yourself by saying, "I'll be fine." Sometimes that delay can make the consequences far worse. And don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with your friends, with your loved ones. Because for older adults, just one fall can change an entire life.
So we've just talked about sign number 4, fainting. Now let's look at sign number 5, blurred vision. It may seem like something small, something everyone has experienced at some point, but for older adults, especially when blood pressure drops, it can actually be an important signal the body is sending. The eyes are highly sensitive to oxygen shortage. If blood doesn't reach the retina fast enough, even for just a few seconds, the world in front of you can suddenly turn blurry, dim, or feel like it's covered by a thin veil of fog. I remember a woman in her 70s sharing, "I thought my eyes were just getting weaker. Maybe I needed new glasses. But when I went for a checkup, the doctor told me the real cause was low blood pressure." Clearly, new lenses don't always solve the problem. Sometimes what you truly need is not stronger glasses, but a strong enough heart to keep the blood flowing to your eyes. Put it simply, never confuse blurred vision from low blood pressure with the normal age-related decline in eyesight. If this keeps happening, check your blood pressure and talk to your doctor right away. And don't keep this to yourself. Share it with your children, your grandchildren, your friends. Because even a simple reminder could help someone realize that blurred vision isn't just a sign of aging. It's the body quietly whispering a warning. That was sign number 5. Now, sign number 6 is a weak or irregular pulse. This one comes straight from the heart, and it's a signal we should never overlook. A weak or irregular pulse. It might sound unusual, but in truth, it's one of the clearest signals that the heart is struggling when blood pressure drops too low. Normally, the heart works like a faithful pump, steady, rhythmic, never resting for even a moment. But when blood pressure falls too low, the heart can't push blood effectively. That's when the pulse turns faint. Sometimes racing, sometimes slowing, sometimes skipping altogether. Older adults may feel their heart pounding in the chest, or on the other hand, hardly feel it at all. I remember a friend in California telling me about his father. He said, one day, it felt like his heart skipped a beat, and then he grew dizzy and nearly collapsed. We thought it was just anxiety. But when checked, it turned out to be low blood pressure combined with an irregular heartbeat. Thanks to early detection, he received treatment in time and avoided dangerous complications. The lesson here is this: never dismiss it or try to self-diagnose. Feeling your pulse with your fingers is often not accurate enough. If you notice your heartbeat turning weak, skipping, or beating irregularly, use a heart monitor or see your doctor. Because when the heart isn't pumping blood efficiently, the whole body suffers the consequences. And don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with friends your age or with your family members. A simple reminder at the right moment could help someone avoid a hidden danger they never even realized was there. That was sign number 6. But when the heart can't send enough blood upward, the brain suffers next. Sign number 7 is memory loss, poor focus, better known as brain fog. Difficulty concentrating, often called brain fog. It may sound minor, but for older adults with low blood pressure, this is a sign worth paying close attention to. When blood pressure drops, less blood flows to the brain, and the brain is the organ that consumes the most oxygen in the body. Without enough oxygen, you may experience forgetfulness, trouble focusing, or even forget what you were about to say in the middle of a sentence. I recall a story about George, 70 years old. One day, he was telling a story to his grandchild when he suddenly paused, hesitated halfway through, and then smiled gently. He forgot. At first, his family feared it was Alzheimer's. But after a checkup, the doctor concluded the real cause wasn't dementia at all. It was low blood pressure. The takeaway is clear. Memory loss doesn't always mean dementia. Sometimes it's simply because the brain isn't getting enough blood and oxygen, and if the cause is found early, the condition can often be improved. This also reminds us not to quickly label ourselves or our loved ones. A little forgetfulness doesn't always equal inevitable aging. Sometimes it's the body's way of sending a warning. And as always, don't keep this to yourself. Share this story with friends, neighbors, or anyone worried that their memory is slipping away too fast. Because sometimes the truth is much simpler. It's just low blood pressure. That was sign number 7, but sign number 8 is impossible to miss. When your skin turns cold and clammy, it's your body's urgent way of saying something is very wrong.
Cold, clammy skin. It may sound like just a minor discomfort, but in reality, it can be a sign that your body is pulling blood away from the skin to protect its most vital organs, the heart and the brain. When blood pressure drops, circulation is no longer evenly distributed. Blood flow is prioritized for the heart and brain, while the skin, hands, and feet receive less nourishment. The result? You may feel your skin turn cold, damp, and clammy, as if you had just broken into a sweat. I remember an elderly woman once shared, "I was sitting in my living room, the weather wasn't cold at all, yet my hands felt icy, damp, almost like I had just dipped them in water." At first, her family thought it was just the weather or the air conditioning, but when they checked her blood pressure, it had dropped dangerously low. That cold, clammy feeling turned out to be her body's clear warning signal. The lesson here is this: never ignore sudden cold and clammy skin, especially if it comes along with other symptoms like dizziness, fatigue, or a weak pulse. A common mistake is to blame it on too much air conditioning or poor circulation from aging. In truth, it can be a serious alarm bell of low blood pressure. And remember to share this with your children, friends, or neighbors. Sometimes it's the people around you who notice these changes first. And just one timely reminder could protect someone's health or even save a life. After cold, clammy skin comes another warning, this time less visible, but just as real. Sign number 9 is those nagging headaches that don't go away easily. Now, sign number 9 doesn't shout, it whispers, but it whispers again and again. Those headaches that keep coming back, even when you think it's just from stress or coffee. Not only high blood pressure causes headaches, low blood pressure can also leave you struggling with dull, persistent, and uncomfortable pain. When blood pressure drops, your brain doesn't get enough blood and oxygen. As a result, the blood vessels in the brain tighten, creating that heavy-headed feeling, sometimes dizziness, or even a throbbing ache like someone squeezing your temples. I remember meeting a woman in her early 70s from Ohio. She laughed and said, "Every morning I wake up with a headache. I just thought it was because I hadn't had my cup of coffee yet." But when she finally went to see a doctor, the truth came out. It wasn't about the coffee at all. Her blood pressure had dropped too low. The cause was completely different from what she had believed all along. Put simply, don't be too quick to blame every headache on lack of sleep, stress, or missing your coffee, especially if the headaches keep coming back and show up with dizziness, fatigue, or weak pulse. Consider checking your blood pressure. The biggest mistake is masking the pain with painkillers while ignoring the real cause. And don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with your children, friends, or neighbors, because someone close to you might also be suffering from headaches, not realizing that low blood pressure could be the hidden reason. A simple reminder could help them find answers much sooner. That was sign number 9. But what if those headaches are joined by shortness of breath, fast, shallow breathing? That's sign number 10, and it's one you must not ignore.
Shortness of breath, rapid, shallow breathing. It may sound like a normal reaction to anxiety, but in reality, it's one of the clearest signs that your body is struggling to make up for a lack of oxygen. When blood pressure drops, the heart no longer has the strength to pump blood efficiently throughout the body. The brain, the heart itself and other vital organs are left without enough oxygen. In response, the body forces you to breathe faster and more shallowly, trying desperately to pull in more oxygen from the air. But it's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. No matter how fast you pour, it never stays full. I'm reminded of Mr. Frank, 69, from New Jersey. He used to be strong and healthy, climbing the stairs every day to grab his books. But recently, after climbing just one flight of stairs, he found himself gasping for air, his chest rising and falling rapidly. He thought, maybe I'm just anxious or stressed. But when he went to the doctor, the truth came out. His blood pressure had dropped too low, his heart was pumping weakly, and that's why he was forced to breathe so rapidly just to compensate for the lack of oxygen. What seemed like simple anxiety was in fact a red flag for heart health, and for many seniors, this warning repeats until someone finally pays attention. The takeaway here is simple. Don't be too quick to label rapid or shallow breathing as just anxiety. If this symptom happens repeatedly, especially when paired with dizziness, fatigue, or chest discomfort, it could very well be a sign of poor circulation caused by low blood pressure. The biggest mistake is to ignore it, assuming that a little rest will make it go away. And don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with your family and friends, because someone close to you may also be confusing this kind of heavy, shallow breathing with anxiety, never realizing that low blood pressure could be the real culprit. A single reminder at the right time could help them catch it early and avoid serious consequences. And that brings us to sign number 11, nausea. Something many dismiss as just a food issue, but often it's much more. Nausea. At first, it may sound like something ordinary. Maybe you ate something that didn't sit well, or you simply have a weak stomach. But for older adults, especially when blood pressure drops too low, nausea can actually be a hidden warning sign that few people pay attention to. When the digestive system doesn't get enough blood, the stomach and intestines are deprived of oxygen. The body reacts with discomfort, sometimes a gnawing sensation, sometimes an urge to vomit. That's why many people mistake it for something I ate last night or food that just didn't agree with me. But the truth is, the root cause often lies in low blood pressure. I remember meeting a woman in her 70s who shared, "Every time I felt nauseous, I thought it was because I had eaten something too greasy. But then I realized even when I ate very light meals, the nausea kept coming back." After a checkup, her doctor confirmed the culprit wasn't food at all. It was low blood pressure. So here's the key takeaway. Never ignore recurring nausea, especially if it comes along with dizziness, fatigue, or cold, clammy skin. The biggest mistake is just to take anti-nausea medicine for quick relief while overlooking the real root cause, hypotension. And as always, don't keep this to yourself. Share it with your friends, children, or grandchildren, because someone you love may also be struggling with frequent nausea without realizing that what really needs attention is their heart and blood pressure. That was sign number 11. And sign number 12 is hard to miss. It shows up right on the surface when your skin suddenly turns pale. When skin suddenly turns pale, most people shrug it off, thinking it's just tiredness, a few sleepless nights, or simply aging, but the truth is different. For older adults, when blood pressure drops too low, pale or bluish skin can be a very clear warning signal. When circulation weakens, the body is forced to prioritize sending blood to the brain and heart, the most vital organs. That means the skin, especially the lips, fingertips, or face, doesn't get enough blood supply and it turns pale. In other words, your skin becomes a mirror reflecting what's happening inside your body. I remember meeting a 75-year-old grandmother once. Her family told me, for the past few days, her lips have been ghostly white, her face pale and grayish. We were so worried. We thought she was anemic or not eating well, but when we checked, her blood pressure had dropped very low. That story shows us something important. Sometimes danger isn't hidden deep inside. It's right there, plain to see on the face. We just don't pay enough attention. The takeaway here is never ignore sudden paleness, especially when it comes along with other symptoms like clammy skin or a weak heartbeat. The biggest mistake is to assume it's just aging skin or a few days of poor rest. In reality, it can be the body's alarm bell warning of severe lack of blood and oxygen due to low blood pressure. And don't keep this to yourself. Share it with your family and friends, because often it's your loved ones who will first notice the change in your appearance. One timely word of concern might not only protect health, it could even save a life. So that was sign number 12. Now, sign number 13 is just as easy to notice: sudden sweating without any clear reason. Unexplained sweating. Normally, it's a familiar reaction when the weather is hot or when we're exercising. But if you're just sitting still, the room is cool, you're not doing anything, and yet sweat still soaks through your shirt, that's no longer normal. That's a signal your body is sending you. When blood pressure drops too low, the body reacts by releasing adrenaline, a hormone that makes the heart beat faster and triggers more sweating, almost like the body has switched on an emergency alarm mode. It's the body's natural way of keeping blood flowing to the brain and the heart, but it also causes you to break out in a sweat even when there's no clear reason. I'm reminded of the story of Mr. Harry, 71 years old. One evening, he was simply sitting in his living room watching TV. The weather was pleasant, nothing unusual was happening, yet his shirt was completely drenched in sweat. At first, his family thought it was just heat inside the body, or old age making him sweat more. But when they checked his blood pressure, the number had dropped very low. It turned out those beads of sweat were his body's warning sign, showing how hard it was struggling to keep blood circulating. The lesson here is clear. Never dismiss unexplained sweating, especially when it comes along with dizziness, fainting, or chest discomfort. The biggest mistake is to assume it's just your body type or because you ate something spicy. In reality, it may be an urgent red flag of low blood pressure. And as always, don't keep this to yourself. Share it with your children, grandchildren, and friends, because often it's the people around you who notice these changes first. And one timely reminder could prevent a dangerous incident. So that was sign number 13. Now, sign number 14 is different. It's not another symptom, but the hidden triggers and risk factors silently working behind the scenes.
Unexplained sweating, pale skin, dizziness. These signs don't always appear out of nowhere. Very often, hidden behind them are underlying causes or risk factors that we accidentally overlook. Sometimes the real culprit is medication. Diuretics, antidepressants, or heart medications can all cause blood pressure to drop rapidly. In other cases, dehydration, whether from drinking too little water, diarrhea, or excessive sweating without replenishment, can sharply lower blood pressure as well. Another factor many people ignore is a low-salt diet. We often hear that eating too much salt is bad for the heart, and that's true. But for someone with low blood pressure, eating too little salt can actually cause it to drop to dangerous levels. On top of that, underlying conditions such as diabetes, thyroid disorders, or adrenal insufficiency can also trigger hypotension and make it difficult to control.
This explains why so many people think, "I'm just tired because of old age," when in reality, their body is being affected by an undiagnosed health problem. Intention? Check. Analysis? Check. Apply? Check. The clear takeaway here is this: low blood pressure is never random. There is almost always a specific cause, whether it's medication, diet, lifestyle, or an underlying condition. Only by identifying the real trigger can we truly fix the issue instead of merely soothing the surface-level symptoms. And, as always, don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share it with your family and friends. Who knows? They might also be quietly struggling with these hidden risk factors without even realizing it. Intention? Check. Audience? Check. Purpose? Check. Now that we've uncovered these hidden causes, it's time to talk about solutions. Because knowing the risk factors is only half the battle. The real power lies in the everyday habits that protect you. Intention? Check. Audience? Check. Purpose? Check. We've just finished uncovering the 14 key signs of low blood pressure, but our journey doesn't stop here. Now, let's move into the practical part, the everyday habits that quietly protect you. There's a simple truth many people often overlook. Managing low blood pressure isn't just about doctor visits. It's the everyday habits, the little choices that quietly become your shield of protection. Take water, for example. Drink too little, and your body becomes dehydrated. Your blood thins, and your pressure drops. Instead, make it a habit to drink about 8 glasses of water each day, spread evenly from morning to evening. Or with food. Don't overload your stomach with one heavy meal. Break it down into smaller, more frequent meals so your body can absorb nutrients more easily and your blood pressure stays stable. A few other small tips can make a big difference. Wear compression socks to keep blood from pooling in your legs. Raise the head of your bed slightly so when you wake up in the morning, circulation flows more smoothly. And most importantly, stand up slowly instead of jumping out of bed. This helps prevent sudden drops in blood pressure. Intention? Check. Audience? Check. Purpose? Check. The gentle reminder here is this: caring for low blood pressure isn't just about medicine, it's about the small, daily choices you make. Staying consistent with these little habits is the real key to living safely, staying healthy, and keeping your independence after 60. And don't keep these tips to yourself. Share them with family, friends, or anyone you know who lives with low blood pressure. Sometimes a single timely reminder is enough to help them avoid a fainting spell, a dangerous fall, and preserve their independence. Intention? Check. Audience? Check. Purpose? Check. But remember, sometimes the body skips the gentle whispers and goes straight to flashing a red warning light. When that happens, you don't wait, you act. In the next part, we'll uncover exactly which situations demand emergency help right away. Most of the time, the body gives mild reminders, dizziness, fatigue, or a nagging headache. But sometimes it doesn't wait. It sends an urgent alarm, chest pain with fainting, gasping for air, or skin turning cold and pale. These are no longer signals to watch and wait. They're red flags you must act on immediately. For example, when fainting is not just brief, but comes together with severe chest pain. That could be the moment your heart is critically deprived of blood, and every single second of delay carries serious risk. Or when you find yourself gasping for air, struggling to breathe even while at rest, with the feeling that your chest is being squeezed. This is no longer just anxiety. It's a signal that your body is fighting hard to pump blood and keep oxygen flowing to your brain. And don't overlook it when your skin turns pale or bluish and feels cold, especially around the lips or fingertips. Many families first assume it's just weakness or anemia, but in reality, it could be a warning that blood pressure has dropped to a dangerous level. What you need to remember is this: when fainting happens along with chest pain, shortness of breath, or pale, cold skin, this is no longer something to wait out or handle on your own. Call 911 immediately. In these moments, even a single minute can decide life or death. And as always, don't keep this information to yourself. Share it with your family and friends, especially those living with low blood pressure. Because one day, they or someone close to them might face such a crisis. And just one timely phone call could save a life. In the next part, we'll go through a short, easy-to-remember checklist for both seniors and caregivers to help prevent and manage low blood pressure safely every single day. Sometimes we hear health reminders, but they slip away in the busyness of daily life. Yet with low blood pressure, forgetting or ignoring them can bring unnecessary risks. That's why a short, easy-to-remember checklist can act like a safety cushion, helping you and your loved ones feel more secure every day. Check your blood pressure regularly. Whether morning, noon, or night, keep the habit of measuring and writing it down. Today's number is a mirror reflecting your current health. Keep a health journal. Don't just log the numbers, but also how you feel. Dizziness, fatigue, or shortness of breath. These small notes give a doctor a clearer picture of your condition. Review your medications. Some drugs can cause blood pressure to drop. Don't hesitate to ask your doctor or pharmacist, could this medication affect my blood pressure? Stay hydrated, at least 8 cups a day, spread throughout. Remember, dehydration thins the blood, and blood pressure drops quickly. Eat balanced meals, several small meals with proper nutrition, instead of overloading your stomach. For those with low blood pressure, a little salt in the diet can actually be necessary. Stand up slowly. After sitting or lying down for a long time, don't jump up too quickly. Give your body a few seconds to adjust so blood can flow steadily to your brain. The important thing is this: treat this checklist as part of your daily lifestyle, not just something you do when you remember. Because often, it's the small, consistent actions that keep you safe and steady against the surprises of low blood pressure. And if you're caring for parents or grandparents, place this checklist somewhere easy to see, on the fridge, by the bedside, or on the coffee table. A simple daily reminder can preserve both safety and independence for the ones you love. In the next part, we'll close this journey with a final message, returning to the opening story and sharing the most important truth of all. Listening to your body is the key to living independently, healthily, and with dignity. At the beginning of this video, I shared the story of Nancy from Florida, a woman who once believed dizziness was just a part of aging until one fall changed her life forever. And now, after walking together through 14 hidden signs, 4 underlying causes, daily safety tips, and even a simple checklist for you and your loved ones, I believe you've seen a very clear truth. Low blood pressure is never safer just because it's low. We've journeyed from the smallest signals, like a passing dizzy spell, unusual fatigue, or sudden blurred vision, to the stronger warnings, like fainting, shortness of breath, or pale, cold skin. All of these remind us of one thing: your body always speaks. The question is, Are we listening in time? So what's the most important lesson to take with you today? It's this: listen to your body. Every dizzy spell, every wave of exhaustion, even unexplained sweating, each one deserves your attention. Pause, check, and give yourself the care you need. You can begin right now. Check your blood pressure regularly. Keep yourself hydrated. Eat smaller, balanced meals. And stand up slowly instead of rushing. These small choices may seem simple, but they are the keys to staying strong, independent, and dignified after 60. And now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you or your loved ones experienced any of these warning signs? Which habit from the checklist do you think will be easiest to apply in your daily life? Leave a comment below so we can share and learn from one another. And don't forget to hit subscribe and share this video, because sometimes just one share can help someone recognize the signs in time and prevent a serious emergency. You've been watching Elderly Health Corner. Live stronger after 60. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, where together we'll keep learning how to live healthier, happier, and more fulfilled every single day.